Well, let's talk about what's driving this. Yeah, it's the same dynamics impacting UK gas, European gas, the coal market in China, the oil market. It is structural underinvestment in the ability to supply and deliver these commodities, particularly hydrocarbons in the face of decarbonization. We like to call it the revenge of the old economy. Put simply, poor returns in the old economy saw capital redirected to the new economy, choking off the capital needed to grow that supply base. Then you overlay ESG issues on top of that, you create this very significant structural impediment into supply. Then we had the big increase in demand following COVID that exposed all of these supply constraints. Inventories are being drawn down to very low levels, leaving the market very vulnerable to any type of supply or demand disruption. At the core of this energy crisis in Europe was simply the wind quit blowing. And so you didn't have that wind power generation, and you had to replace it with natural gas. And you went to that natural gas, no supply, no inventories, and boom, we had a spike in prices. So what's happening in the oil market is similar to what's happening in the UK. And like I say, UK and Europe is just a glimpse of what we think is going to happen across the rest of the commodity complex. And so bringing this back to, the US comments, yesterday and last night is, the deficit in oil is so large that neither the U.S. administration nor OPEC can really do anything about this. That's why we think there's a lot of upside risk in oil near term, which is why we maintain our forecast of $90 a barrel.
So if the U.S. can't really do anything about it with the strategic petroleum reserves, what would make a difference?
Well, there's only two things that can make a difference. You bring on new supply or you destroy demand, you take demand out of the system. We're already seeing some demand destruction taking place in Europe, lots of it taking place in China. I want to emphasize that a lot of this started with China in the lack of investment in coal. They didn't have the coal to meet their power demand, so they imported gas, imported oil, tightened up the global gas markets, then it spread to Europe. So the key point here is you either got to create supply or you got to take demand out. Now, adding the SPR, which is a very complicated procedural process to do, would only marginally help. You need to have large scale investment in these supplies, which is unlikely to happen. That's why this is structural in nature. Our new long-term forecast for oil is $85 a barrel, but I want to emphasize there's a lot of risk to the upside. We've been arguing that this is the first innings of a commodity super cycle, and everything is indicating, hey, this thing is getting a lot tighter than what we thought initially, much sooner.